Hello?
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, I'm happy you did it. Put that stuff out there. Miss Parker is such a cool lady. I like how she could be negative but positive at the same time. Like,
I like the way she did the review. She did a really good job. And go ahead.
Yeah, she's great. I was thinking to clean things up, because I understand where she's coming from, because a lot of stuff that she said, it just ain't gonna come out of my mouth, because I don't feel like I have to explain myself like that. But yeah, it's a lot of information, and on her end, it made sense on my end. Like, damn, when she said that, you gotta understand, like, if y'all see me spitting out a bunch of information, y'all can barely understand it, and y'all gotta go back and watch it. Just imagine how I feel. Well, if I think it's information, or just knowing something, and then something triggers my brain and be like, that's more information, let me hold that. So it's like, and then I don't want her to feel like I'm just so much a part of this family, because most of the stuff that I'm saying happened within the first year of me meeting Marquita. It took time for me to even, it wasn't no instant thing of going straight over there when I met them. After a while, it was like,
I do want to clear up. What year did y'all get together? Did you say 22?
It was in 22.
You remember the month?
It was like either January or February, because I remember I was creating, if you go on my Facebook, I got some shoes that's white and black.
I've never been on your page. I'm going to have to go. You wanted to respond to pretty much what Miss Parker was saying. And while I'm thinking about it, it was a question that it was something that you said a few times on a couple interviews.
Something, I think, when she was saying about the Marquita situation.
Yeah.
If she was there. Now,
something,
I want to clear that up. And then I want to be clear about how I'm saying it, because when somebody seems like they taking up for somebody, they start pointing fingers at them. Now, Marquita, we was on the west side in the same house when she got the call of ZIYAH being run away at that time. So me saying that she was there is me saying, like, she knows something might be going on, just the fact of there's proof within what people already have putting out there. With the case of, that's her twin sister, she stayed with her mama at a certain point. Obviously, this been happening way before I came in the picture or anything like that, so me saying she's been there is what it is. And then when we moved within that year of us being at that house on the west side, I never went back over there. She was always going back and forth and still, spending the night and stuff. It took about a good year, because we kind of got into it a little bit. I'm like, you got a place to stay now. Why you go over your mama's house so much and spend the night and stay gone type stuff? What's up with that? But she kind of, stopped doing that and stayed home more.
Little Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, so when people be thinking like, oh, I'm so tight with family, I only truly know Dan and Marquita. And there was no threesomes. I want to get that clear. No threesomes. It was just a situation of Marquita wasn't in the picture, and shit happened like regular life stuff. But it was something else I had wanted to.
Now you didn't quite clear that part up. Do you want to clear that part up?
I thought I had cleared it up one time when I had talked to you.
You did. I could clear it up. I mean, I got it.
Because I just know for a fact, within all the moving situation, when we was about to move into our house wasn't ready. So it took about a month, which I moved out of my house. I stayed on the west side, which wasn't too far from the new house that I was moving into. So we moved out and they said that it was ready. But then when we moved in, it was stuff still in the house. So then they was like, well, it was time to clean it up, and then it'd be ready. So my stuff was at that house,
So you met her.
Trying to figure out, like,
you met her in 22 What year did y'all move? What year did Annette move to house 2? And what year did y'all move to y'all on the west side?
I would have to go on my phone and look at the exact date. Like I said before, I'm just not good with the date stuff.
Was it before ZIYAH went missing?
Yeah, it was before.
So it probably was.
Moving stuff was way before ZIYAH went missing. Like a whole year went by before this situation happened.
So it would have had to been 23 then, because you just said January of 23 is when you met her, somewhere January or February of 2022. I mean, and then ZIYAH went missing.
22, 23, 24. Right. So ZIYAH went missing. What, last year? The
very next year, 24, January of 2024.
Right.
So a whole year went by. Exactly.
So like, did I say that right?
Yeah, you met her in 22. Y'all moved in 23, and in 24, ZIYAH went missing.
Right. And a whole another year went past, and all this other crap didn't happen. And when the ZIYAH thing happened with the pedophile next door, I don't want to call him about because I don't know if he even been like charged with anything of being a pedophile. I only say that because they were saying, like, when I first was like going to the house, I met everybody and stuff like that. You know, I always mind my business. And then when certain shit happens that really doesn't involve me, I'm not really stepping in, especially if I feel like, you know, the grown-ups are handling, you know, that's their kid. You know, I don't even know how long I'm going to be talking to this girl to even be putting a foot in here and be like, hey, maybe you should do this and maybe you should do that. What they doing, in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, they handle it. You know, they getting on the guy. I'm thinking they, you know, called the police because the police pulled up, but obviously they pulled up for the commotion that happened. But the police was there. You know, they got in the picture. When I first met, I was not saying that situation happened when I first met him, but me hearing about ZIYAH was even texting old boy next door from them. It was like when I first met him, and they wasn't talking to me. You know, I got a handheld game that too. I'm always, if I ain't doing nothing, I'm always doing that. So if I can remember correctly, I was sitting down, probably playing the game, not really paying attention to what they were saying, but you in the room or you in the next room, you can hear, you know, a conversation. You know, I've heard them saying, like, you know, ZIYAH can't have her phone because she was texting old boy next door. But the way they put it off is if they handled it, you know. I didn't even know ZIYAH like that at the time. I could barely even say her name to even know what was going on. I didn't even know which kid they were talking about at the time. There's so many kids. I'm not good with names, so it's like, I don't know what y'all talking about for real. But then I say stuff, and it's like, people be like, oh, he knows so much because he was there. No, I'm learning the same shit that everybody else is learning. And then I'm doing my research on my own, going on Facebook, looking at stuff, just finding out stuff. Like, dang, y'all both be arguing with your family members about look like Jarvis. Like, what the fuck? So, you know, I'm learning shit too. So,
speaking of Jarvis, because I want to know, what was him and Florentino arguing about in the car that day? You remember?
I can't even remember.
Okay.
It had nothing to do with me. Like I said, I am so busy on minding my own business, and like it wasn't nothing really happening. It just came out of nowhere. I'm either looking out the window on where we going, or I'm on my phone at this time. You know, I've always got something in my hand, and I'm just into something else, doing something else.
Do you remember? Paying attention. Do you remember if it was before or after dinner when the fight happened?
No, it was before dinner.
So how did they act during dinner? Was they back to normal?
Yeah, everything was normal. It wasn't like they just continued arguing. Pretty much the argument escalated and then stopped. And then it was
they fighting over the front seat? How the heck why was Jarvis in the front seat, and where was Shannon sitting at?
Look, I complained about the seating problem too. I'm looking like this is a weird seating situation. I'm looking like Florentino should have been in the front seat with the as the passenger next to the driver, and then maybe Shan and being that what's his goddamn name? Butts is taller than me. Maybe y'all can get in the middle area of the van. You got that two seats in the middle. I mean, in the middle section, and then you can walk through the rest of it.
Yeah.
Get to the back. So that type of van. So in my mind, I'm looking like y'all can sit there, and then being I'm short and she ain't that too much taller than me either. We can both get in the back. I'm with her. You're supposed to be with Shan. That makes sense to me, but it was just like, whatever, I don't care, we all going to the same place.
So
I ain't about to be childish.
So you, Marquita, and Shannon was in the back seat, and Florentino.
No, it's you got it's a minivan, so you got the driver, the passenger, and then you got seats in the middle section where you open the two sliding doors.
Mm-hmm.
And then how you get into a sliding door like a mom
soccer van. Yeah.
And you can just walk in the middle to get in the back. Me and Florentino was in the back in the seat. And the twins were in front of us sitting in the other two seats.
Right, so Jarvis up there like the daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would Jarvis be in the front? Unless that is weird, but it fits the narrative that him and Annette had the relationship first. Because everybody is trying to figure out where did Jarvis even come from, because he's way older than Shannon. So was he dealing with the mother before he, was he approved?
I don't know. From when I met them, I didn't hear this until it was a while. Like, I can't even put how many months it was until Marquita herself was just like, it sounded to me like jealousy at first. I don't know. And she just was like, well, I used to date Jarvis first, and Chan kind of like took him from me or something like that. I'm like, what? But she was like, I don't care because I wasn't interested in them being light skinned or something like that. So I'm like, oh, okay. But I ain't really.
Wait a minute, I don't remember hearing this part ever. She said,
like I said, I don't be saying stuff in detail. I just be saying stuff, and then people just go with the wind, and it's like, golly.
But she